Hey there. I was thinking about one of the pieces of guidance or challenges, advice, invitations that I often make to clients and to our women's circle, and that is to say yes to whatever shows up, whatever comes in, whatever you encounter, whatever thoughts come up, whatever emotions come up, to not try to fight them or even uh, judge them, anything that you encounter. And this is not always an easy thing to do, of course. Most of the time, I would say it's not so easy to do, but merely having that intention to stop fighting, to stop resisting, to stop wishing that things were different, that people were different, that we were different, but to instead be in acceptance. It's a it's a game changer. It's a source of freedom. Uh, And a part of this, one way to begin to experience this is to decide that every day is going to be the best day ever. This day is going to be the best day ever as you set your feet on the floor and prepare to launch yourself into the day, or in some cases, drag yourself into the day if it feels like that for you in the morning. Still, this is going to be the best day ever. And this guidance, this teaching, um, one of my teachers gave this to me maybe 2 years ago as something to do, and I stuck with it for a while, remembering to do it every morning. Um, Certainly, it was easier 2 years ago than it was 10 years ago, um, because of the evolution and the path that I've been on. And still, I noticed that that practice was useful. Recently, I have recommitted to focusing on that thought first thing in the morning as my feet hit the floor. This is going to be the best day ever, or today is going to be the best day. I refocused on it with a client of mine, and we're doing it together. We're committing to this. And to be honest, I was like, oh, I've got this. I know this teaching. And it's also been very interesting how recommitting to that idea again, that intention every morning, has made a difference in the past couple of weeks. And it sort of looks like this. The way it looks is that I hear less. I hear less complaining in my head. I do not. If there is a judgmental thought, it is quickly transformed. It's quickly. There's a pathway, a way for me to see, oh, I forgive that thought. That was a judgment. It's not useful in this moment, and I'm going to choose again. Uh, this is going to be the best day is a way to say yes also to what I encounter in other people. If other people are feeling burdened and I can sense their emotional state is not one of expansion and comfort and joy, I can be with them while not judging where they are and also not taking on as my responsibility to change what they are experiencing, but to fully accept where they are right then. Very useful. Less inclination to worry. Um, yeah, worry or have anxiety about others' situations, others' patterns. That, of course, does not mean that I am not compassionate. I don't have concern. I don't express concern. Of course. But the way in which I do that is never about feeling sorry for someone. And if you've ever felt like someone was feeling sorry for you, that does not feel that great. Um, and even if you've had a pattern of actually wanting that kind of sympathy, someone to feel sorry for you, as I'm saying this right now, you can think about what that feels like. You can remember what that feels like. It doesn't feel so great, whether it may have been a short-term intention in the first place or not to have someone's sympathy. Having someone's sympathy is very different feeling, the feeling sorry for, than having their compassion, than having their space for you. So I digress, going back to this is the best day ever. So last week, I needed to go into, we're in Ireland now. I needed to go into Cork to run some errands, and I took the bus, and then I took the train, and then I was going to walk to the first appointment. And it just started to pour raining, and it wasn't ideal to be walking into this appointment all wet. But I didn't have an umbrella, and I just thought, this is what it is. No story of like, oh, this is terrible. I didn't prepare. Uh, I'm going to be all wet for the rest of the day, and just decided this is the best day ever. This is the best day ever, and decided not to mind about the weather. After one of the appointments, it was raining, and I sort of hung out waiting, and I needed to take, because at the time I was going to take a city bus back to the train, and I don't know the bus system very well. So there's a bit of uncertainty, a little bit of anxiety with that. So I noticed that this is going to be the best day ever. I'm saying yes to what I encounter, and thought, well, it's not going to be the end of the world if I get on the wrong bus here, or if I mess this up in some way. So I see the bus coming, the rain's sort of letting up, and my phone tells me it's the bus I want, using the directions. And so I wave to the bus, and he because of where somebody's parked, he drives forward a little bit, and I get to the door, someone steps down off the bus, and the bus driver is yelling at me. He's saying, I told you that I don't stop here. This is not the stop. There's a bus behind me. And he's very angry. And I just looked at him, and I went, oh, thank you. And even though there was this slight moment of wanting to berate myself as he was berating me, there was no reason to take any of that personally, because he doesn't know me. I don't know him. I have no idea what happened on his path before that moment. And I certainly didn't see him waving me off, that he wasn't stopping there, because he did stop. And I felt myself, like, with joy and ease and peace, turning around and seeing the other bus that he mentioned right there, ready for me to step on. There was a time in my life where that interaction with somebody, telling me I did something wrong, and even yelling, sort of, getting frustrated with me or whatever, would have upset me for a week, because I did indeed get something wrong. I did indeed go for a bus that, for whatever reason, I think it wasn't on the schedule then, that bus stops there, even though it does sometimes. But I would have spent a lot of time in judgment of myself for not knowing better. I would have, maybe I would have made myself a victim of the angry bus driver or something like this. Or maybe I would have said, oh, I deserve to be talked to that way because I was wrong, and would have spent some time in a lower vibration, in a less than fun emotional state. And because I've had that experience in my life, I notice that old pattern sometimes wants to replay. In any kind of old pattern situation, not just something like that. And what I know now, and I know I would definitely credit my teachers and the women's groups that I've been in helping me integrate this idea that we don't ever have to take something that somebody else does personally in a way that causes contraction. And I'm very thankful for that, because that whole interaction, in fact, I forgot all about it, after I got on the next bus, and I only mentioned it. We were talking about how friendly all of the people in Ireland are, usually. That was probably the one experience I'd ever had with the bus driver or anyone. And it it just went completely out of my, was not concerned. It was, that whole situation wasn't about me. I made a mistake, no big deal. There'll be another bus. I'll get on it. So this is, of course, not, the situation was not a big deal. But there can be other ones that could be construed as big deals. One day I was with a client in person and I saw that my phone was ringing. I had my phone in Do Not Disturb, but it rang twice, and I finally looked at it. It was my daughter. And since she was calling multiple times, so I thought something might be wrong, and indeed something was. So I apologized to my client and I handled the situation. And she could hear a little bit about what was going on. It was slightly upsetting. And I was slightly disrupted emotionally from being focused on this client and also handling what was going on with my daughter, who was maybe in middle school at the time. So when we hung up the phone, my client is still sitting there, and I said, I need just a minute. And I got quiet and I internally said yes to everything that had just happened, the interrupting a session, what was going on with my daughter, the fact that I was disrupted and I was still in a session. I said yes, and it took maybe 20 seconds at that time. And I felt myself, in accepting all of that, coming back to her. The truth was the crisis was averted on the phone, so there wasn't a continuing crisis. It was going to be okay. Came back to her, and so she watched me do this. And she said, that was incredible. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I was sort of surprised because, well, I should not have been surprised. And maybe to me, it was just what you do when you need to pull yourself back and be present and not spend your energy and your intention and attention on resisting what's happening, on not liking what's happening. And so I turned back to her and I felt my energy completely present with her. She did too. And she said, I've never been able to do that in my whole life. That, like, this, essentially letting something go. And of course, for me, it didn't happen overnight. And of course, I notice in vulnerable moments that sometimes it's a little bit harder to do, to let something go. So what I would like to do is to invite you, especially if you are a woman who has resonated with the things that I've posted or written in the past, or you've worked with me in the past, and you're looking for a community of people who supports each other with humility and confidence, being able to say yes and to let go of anything that is adding to a story of resistance, or I don't like this, or what they've done to me, or needing to fix something in somebody else. The truth is, you don't need to fix anything in yourself either. But the invitation here is, would you like to evolve into experiencing more freedom, more fun, celebrating the abundance in your life, no matter what the bank account says, but also understanding, how, what is abundance? Because it's more than just money, of course, this. If you're listening to this, you know that. So we start in, I believe it's 3 weeks from today at this recording, August 20th, 2024. And if you are looking for, not a therapy group, because it is definitely not that, but a group of like-minded women who have the common goal of accepting that they have self-judgment sometimes, that they have judgments of others, and they're interested in developing more compassion and flow. You are interested in reconnecting with your personal power, empowerment, your root, so that as things happen, you can stay grounded, centered, connected, and be resilient. Come back to your center, come back to calm. And at the very least, be compassionate with yourself when you recognize that you're not in the most calm state that you could ever be in. And where you are is enough. So let me know if you are interested in joining us in 3 weeks. It is a program or circle, I would say, because we will really be meeting each other where we are. We have probably a book we're going to work with, which we'll talk about in the first group. The reading is never required. We will go about twice a month through early April. So one meeting in April. We don't meet in November, and one December meeting. I would very much like to have you. We still have a few spaces left, so don't let that deter you. If, oh, she only has a few spaces left, oh, it must not be for me. If you are feeling that this could be beneficial for you to be in a community of women who are looking to thrive, not just survive, to have support, to learn some techniques and practices and tools that can apply to situations where things do feel in contraction or stressful or worrisome or there's anxiety. I hope that you'll reach out because we are starting again soon and there's space, and that space maybe is just for you. Thanks for your time.